Today is Thursday, July 16th. Welcome to Big Book Daily, and my name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Bill's story. We'll be reading page 6. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 2. We will be reading page 28. And of course, we'll read the Just for Today Encouraged Change entries. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. It is Friday Eve already. Life is good over here. Giant cup of coffee in hand in my Marvel coffee cup here. I got my fur balls beside me. And hey, it's another day sober. Another opportunity to work the program, to be of service. Another day of hope and joy and peace, and also a day to celebrate as well. I have a dear friend who's called in who is celebrating 1 year of his sobriety today. Another example of the amazing miracle. And some of the things he said are just so true and so rich. And my cat agrees. So stay tuned. I'll play his message at the end of the episode. His name is Chris. So happy for you, man. And thank you so much for calling in, and just a beautiful reminder that this program works. And just a beautiful reminder of the gift of grace in sobriety. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading out of Bill's story on page 6 here, man, some powerful stuff. It's kind of sad. He's trying to willpower himself out of drinking. And how many times have I done that? Where I've made the strong resolution, I'm done. I'm not going to drink today. And then before long, sure enough, the cycle continues. It said here on top of page 6, one day I walked into a cafe to telephone. In no time, I was beating on the bar, asking myself how it happened. And he says, you know what? I already had my first drink. I might as well get good and drunk now. So we're on page 6. Sadly, it's going to get worse before it gets better. The remorse, horror, and hopelessness of the next morning are unforgettable. The courage to do battle was not there. My brain raced uncontrollably, and there was a terrible sense of impending calamity. I hardly dared to cross the street lest I collapse and be run down by an early morning truck, for it was scarcely daylight. An all-night place supplied me with a dozen glasses of ale. My writhing nerves were stilled at last. A morning paper told me that the market had gone to hell again. Well, so would I. The market would recover, but I wouldn't. That was a hard thought. Should I kill myself? No, not now. Then a mental fog settled down. Gin would fix that. So 2 bottles and oblivion. The mind and body are marvelous mechanisms. For mine endured this agony for 2 more years. Sometimes I stole from my wife's slender purse when the morning terror and madness were on me. Again, I swayed dizzily before an open window, or the medicine cabinet where there was poison, cursing myself for a weakling. There were flights from city to country and back, as my wife and I sought escape. Then came the night when the physical and mental torture was so hellish that I feared that I would burst through my window, sash and all. Somehow I managed to drag my mattress to a lower floor, lest I suddenly leap. A doctor came with a heavy sedative. The next day found me both drinking gin and sedative. This combination soon landed me on the rocks. People feared for my sanity. So did I. I could eat little or nothing when drinking, and I was 40 pounds underweight. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And if you recall from the last few days of reading, we've been having this conversation between the sponsor and sponsee. And the sponsee is asking, he's like, oh man, you got us over a barrel here. He said some of us won't believe, others can't, and still others who do believe that God exists have no faith whatever that he will perform this miracle. So the sponsor suggests, well, first of all, for the ones who are having a hard time believing anything, any power greater than themselves, all they have to do is look around a room full of sober people. That can be their higher power at first. And then maybe if they can keep an open mind there, which that's something they repeat twice, keeping an open mind, maybe their vision of a higher power might expand from there. And it says right here at the top of 28, their lives unaccountably transformed. They came to believe in a higher power, and most of them began to talk of God. Now he's going to address the ones who've lost faith because of their disease. Page 28. Consider next the plight of those who once had faith, but had lost it. There will be those who have drifted into indifference, those filled with self-sufficiency who have cut themselves off, those who have become prejudiced against religion, and those who are downright defiant because God has failed to fulfill their demands. Can AA experience tell all these that they may still find a faith that works? Sometimes AA comes harder to those who have lost or rejected faith than to those who never had any faith at all, for they think that they have tried faith and found it wanting. They have tried the way of faith and the way of no faith. Since both ways have proved bitterly disappointing, they've concluded that there is no place whatever for them to go. The roadblocks of indifference, fancied self-sufficiency, prejudice, and defiance often prove more solid and formidable for these people than any erected by the unconvinced agnostic or even the militant atheist. Religion says that the existence of God can be proved. The agnostic says that it can't be proved, and the atheist claims proof of the non-existence of God. Obviously, the dilemma of the wanderer from faith is that of profound confusion. He thinks himself lost to the comfort of any conviction at all. He cannot attain, in even a small degree, the assurance of the believer, the agnostic or the atheist. He is the bewildered one. Any number of AAs can say to the drifter, yes, we were diverted from our childhood faith too. The overconfidence of youth was too much for us. Of course, we were glad that a good home and religious training had given us certain values. We were still sure that we ought to be fairly honest, tolerant, and just, that we ought to be ambitious and hardworking. We became convinced that such simple rules of fair play and decency would be enough. As material success founded upon no more than these ordinary attributes began to come to us, we felt that we were winning at the game of life. This was exhilarating, and it made us happy. Why should we be bothered with theological abstractions and religious duties, or with the state of our souls here or hereafter? The here and now was good enough for us. The will to win would carry us through. But then, alcohol began to have its way with us. Finally, when all of our scorecards read 0, and we saw that one more strike would put us out of the game forever, we had to look at our lost faith. It was in AA that we rediscovered it. And so can you. NA just for today, July 16th. Self-esteem. Deep inside, I had feelings of inadequacy and inferiority. Somewhere along the way, many of us developed strong feelings of inadequacy and inferiority. Deep inside was a voice that continually cried out, "You're worthless." Many of us learned to recognize this characteristic of low self-esteem very early in our recovery. Some of us may feel that our feelings of inferiority were where all of our problems began. Whether we learned this low self-esteem in our families or through our interactions with others, in NA, we learn the tools for reclaiming ourselves. Building up our fractured self-esteem sometimes begins by simply accepting a service position. Or perhaps our phone begins to ring, and for the first time, people are just calling to see how we are. They don't want anything from us, but to reach out and help. Next, we get a sponsor. Someone who teaches us that we're worthwhile and believes in us until we can believe in ourselves. Our sponsor guides us through the 12 steps, and we learn who we really are, not who we have built ourselves up or down to be. Low self-esteem doesn't go away overnight. Sometimes it takes years for us to finally get in touch with ourselves. But with the help of other members of NA who share our same feelings, and by working the 12 steps, we blossom into individuals whom others, and most importantly, we ourselves respect. Just for today, I will remember that I am deserving of my higher power's love. I know that I am a worthy human being. Al-Anon's Courage to Change, July 16th. One of the wonderful but unexpected benefits of working the Al-Anon program is learning how to relax. Until now, most of my life sped by in a frenzy of activity. School, work, projects, obligations, all helped me focus outward. That way that I didn't have to rest long enough to feel how frightful my home life was. There is nothing wrong with working hard and producing results, but I was abusing these activities. They were socially acceptable ways to deny my feelings. Both family and society supported my hiding behind them, until, beaten down and exhausted, I reached the doors of Al-Anon. By that time, I couldn't have relaxed if I wanted to. I didn't know how it was done. In Al-Anon, it was suggested that I would not treat anyone as harshly as I treated myself. I would never ask someone that I loved to go without rest, never letting up, never having any fun. But that was exactly what I asked of myself. My sponsor helped me learn what gave me pleasure and how to take it easy. Now, relaxation is part of my daily routine. Today's reminder. Hard work can be terrific, and my activities can be highly rewarding. But I am striving for some balance. Today, I will look at how I spend my time and set some of that time to relax. The time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading. It's some beautiful stuff. My goodness. I know I said it every day, and I mean it every day. And this one just hits me square between the eyes here. First of all, the 12 and 12 reading. I can identify with this example where my backstory of faith, I grew up very, very loosely Catholic. I mean, my grandmother was a devout Catholic in Jersey, and she would always call me up. She was one of the most spiritual women I've ever met in my life. And she has an interesting story that I'll save for another day. But she would always say, Bobby, that was my family name in Jersey, you're going to be a priest one day. I know it. I just know it. Which is funny because I'm an alcoholic. But hey, I'm talking about God. There you go. But, she had such strong faith, and it planted a seed within me that eventually would grow. I'd move down south. I would go to a completely different denomination, Baptist church, and I gave my life over to my higher power, who I'm, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But, I drifted in and out, and I had my own prejudice of my higher power, that if I didn't live up to a certain standard, that I would be deserted. And that is not any denomination's fault. That was just, I guess, an expectation I put on myself. It was a misconception of my higher power that I put on myself. And it scared me because I felt like I could never measure up. And eventually, I gave up trying to be the good boy, trying to be the perfect guy in some ways. And then as my drinking got worse, there would be many times that I would still try to pray because I knew it was a problem. I'd be like, God, I don't want to drink today. I want to live a life of integrity today. And before long, I'd be drinking again. But the thing is, I didn't know then what I know now. It's as simple as that. I didn't know then that that was the obsession of the mind. And then as soon as I drank, that was the physical craving kicking in. The physical allergy. I didn't know these things, right? Well, finally my life got so unmanageable that I was about to lose my wife and my children. And I tried so many other ways to stop drinking on my own, and it was not working, like poor Bill was trying to do. I could totally relate. Finally, when I darkened the doors to AA, of course, the fellowship helped tremendously. And then when I started working the program, one of the things that I noticed a lot of people would say is, hey, you might need to change the prejudice you have toward your higher power. At the time, I thought that was blasphemous. Like, wait, what? But I think for me, and I can only speak of my own experience, is my prejudice of my higher power was wrong. And over time, and as it says, I think it's in, I'm pretty sure it was the NA reading today. Over time, my higher power shifted from the, I know what you did last summer, God, that, if you're not following these rules, and if you mess up one time, you're going to get it. And then I'm out. And you got to earn my love back. To a higher power that I think is more in line with the big book anyway. That is a higher power of unconditional love. That is here with me. At all times. That will never leave me or forsake me. And that shift in mindset I learned through time, through lots of prayer, and through doing the 12 steps. The 12 steps are not my higher power, but they've been a vehicle for me to have a deeper relationship with my higher power, to really look within and see what things I feared and struggled with. That's where that inventory really helps. And then talking it over with another human being, the power of confession and a different perspective. And then giving these defects over to my higher power every day and making these direct and indirect amends and going out there and being of service to others. And to continue to do it every day. Wash, rinse, and repeat every day. By doing these things, somehow as a byproduct, my view of my higher power has changed over time to a higher power of hope and healing. And I have joy and a peace that passes all understanding. One day at a time, right? And there was so much more I wanted to talk about. That self-esteem stuff from NA and then the Al-Anon reading. It was beautiful. But I feel like I've rambled enough. I'm sure that the readings speak for themselves, but I don't want to take any more time away from my dear friend Chris. Before I play his message, as always, you can always reach out to bigbookdaily@gmail.com. Our number is 865-309-5486. I love hearing people's miracle stories, and we're about to hear Chris's. I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but I will say that I completely agree that there is so much that we gain in sobriety, and this story is an absolute miracle. He is celebrating 1 year as of July 7th. So as I'm recording this, it's the 16th. So he's over a year now. Chris, congratulations, man. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much for your kind words and support. And man, you have blessed me more than you know. And I completely agree. There is definitely hope in sobriety. So my friends, to close out the show, here is Chris's message. Thank you again, man. For all of y'all listening, I hope you know, whether you're sober or not, you're a miracle. You are worthy of recovery, and you are worthy of being loved. And with that, if we're given another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely hope to see you right back here tomorrow.
Hey, Rob, this is Chris from Georgia. Hey, today's July 7th, celebrating 1 year of sobriety, living a new life. It's hard to believe it's been a year. It's been a year of change after almost 30 years of of drinking too much, and I've heard a lot of similar stories on the podcast from yourself and other listeners, and came close to losing it all about a year ago, and I woke up July 7th, 2025, didn't really know where to start. Found your podcast right around that time, and it's been an avid listener ever since, going through my own journey in recovery through my church, 12-step focused, and a whole new life. It is possible. It's amazing when you think you're giving up everything is when you actually gain everything. So I would encourage anybody that is thinking about it, you're sober curious or wondering what's on the other side. Well, there's a whole bunch of grace and life left to live, no matter where you're at and where you're at in any form of recovery. So my story is awesome. 3 young kids, relationships never better. Wife's relationship with her has never been better. His friends, family has just been really supportive, and just really grateful every day, one day at a time. Love that. One day at a time, just getting after it. Loving it. So appreciate the podcast. Start my day every day with it. So keep up the hope, keep up the good work, and don't lose hope. Anybody listening? Thanks.